What is going on, everybody? It's Alex coming back here in another video, and today we are going to be redoing the first round and doing the second round of my way too early 2020 NFL draft redraft. So far, it's actually a series that you guys like, so we're going to be definitely continuing this. It's going to be fun, but we're going to just quickly go through the changes I've already made in the first round, and then we're going to be doing a nice little second round draft. So obviously, with the picks that we've already known, we're not really going to do anything to go into depth about it. Of course, if you guys want to see my thought process on it, you guys could, of course, go see the video. But obviously, number one, Joe Burrow. Number two, Chase Young. Three, Justin Herbert. Obviously, I think Justin Herbert's talent is good enough for the number one spot, but I don't think the Bengals would be willing to move off, given the fact they know Joe Burrow is their franchise guy as well. Obviously, we got Tristan Wirfs, Mekhi Becton here. Yeah, I mean, I just think the left tackle spot was such a big need, and they kind of whiffed a little bit on Austin Jackson. Definitely get that secured. Then Jedrick Wills. This pick, Justin Jefferson, kind of forgot about him at the time, but Justin Jefferson's a beast. Putting him in the slot would be probably the best move, and he did most of his work at LSU over the middle of the field, so I think he would have had a really good year there. And especially with Sam Darnold, then he would have had like definitely really good year. So CJ Henderson makes an appearance here for Arizona. I think they did desperately need that second corner last year and definitely this year. So CJ Henderson would be a really good guy for the future. Giving Jeffrey Okudah the respect he deserves, I kind of disrespect him a bit. He had injuries as well as a pretty poor season, but the potential's still there, and he was a true number one corner for the Lions, and the Lions were pretty abysmal. So it's not like he had much of a really good scenario to go to. But I think he could play really well for this team. He could definitely play that CJ Henderson role and probably play almost better than he could at it. So the potential's there. We're going to rock with that. Andrew Thomas, of course, that's something I rocked for a very long time. So not going to really go into that. Obviously, we knew they needed a tackle and they addressed it. This one, Michael Wainu, totally forgot about this guy. I'm going to be honest. I had the second round already ready to be uploaded, but man, that was I totally forgot about him. I was like, oh shit, I forgot about Owenu. But yeah, he's a beast. Bottom line, he's a beast. The Jets definitely showed that they wanted to go after interior offensive line this year and trade up to 14 to get ABT. Michael Owenu would have been able to fill that role pretty easily. Next, you got CD Lamb. Obviously, JJ's off the board, so this was probably actually the real pick that I did in the first round last time. Definitely a multifaceted weapon who, if he had a healthy Dak Prescott, would have performed almost as well as Justin Jefferson. But I love CD. He's great. Antoine Winfield Jr., we all know he's a beast. Love him. Just great. Next, we got Derek Brown out of Auburn. So, yeah, he fell, but the Niners still desperately needed a hole to replace after not Eric Armstead, DeForest Buckner left, and he fills it. He fills it very well. Next, you got Jerry Jeudy. I just think that he completed the wide receiver core. Drew Lock sucks, but I mean, I know SCU is not going to like that, but I just have like no faith in Drew Lock. Hopefully, he proves me wrong, but Jerry Jeudy is going to provide a great wide receiver for whoever is going to be the quarterback. Jalen Johnson's next. I know we got L'Jarius Sneed coming up. As a Bears fan, I just love the way Jalen Johnson played, and he played at such a high level. I was a big fan. So love Jalen Johnson. L'Jarius Sneed had an amazing year, so can't take that away from him. We're gonna stick with him on the Cowboys. Obviously, I was thinking about taking Trevon Diggs there, but L'Jarius Sneed just played very locked down, and you guys made me aware of how I forgot about that. Next, we got Tua. It's just worth taking a shot at 18. Isaiah Simmons fell all the way to 19. Yes, that's correct. It's just, again, teams are going to be scared shitless of how to use him. And I think he's just going to be in a very interesting scenario here with the Raiders where they can use him at safety. They can use him at slot corner if they want to. There's a lot of holes that he could fill. So I think that would have been the best spot for him, given the draft position. Brandon Ayuk on the Jaguars. I love that idea. It's the Laviska Shenault role, but with someone who's much better than Laviska Shenault. So I'm a big fan of that. Chase Claypool to the Eagles. Obviously, I think I underrated Chase Claypool. I was like, damn, where do I put him? And I was trying to get maybe Henry Ruggs to the Eagles because that was the original plan, but Henry Ruggs did not play nearly as well as Chase Claypool. The ceiling's still there, hence why he's at the next pick, but Chase Claypool, he's Mapletron for a reason. He's a beast. I love him. Next, obviously, Henry Ruggs, super high ceiling guy. Definitely something that the Minnesota Vikings would have been willing to take at the time. And it's just like, okay, well, he's definitely a speed burner, maybe someone who we could take in the later first round pick, but we have other teams in here that probably want to nab someone like that. Next, you got Willie Gay Jr. I think that he's the best linebacker in the class. I honestly, yeah, even better than Isaiah Simmons. But again, personality issues push him down a little bit. But he's been playing really, really well. So had to give him the respect he deserves and move him up quite a bit. Next, we got T. Higgins here. You have to get that number 2 wide receiver, dude. I'm gonna be honest. Like, it's such a big need for the Saints year in and year out. So definitely fill that role. Cameron Dantzler. So he lit it up. Probably the best corner out of this rookie class, but of course he's a slot corner. So value wise, he drops. The Niners. You got Kwan Williams there. He's on a 1-year contract at the time, and he can't stay healthy. So you know, fill the need with someone who is going to light it up. Next, Javon Kinlaw. The run defense was terrible for the Packers, and the interior defensive line, not that great. Kenny Clark is on his own there, so get Javon Kinlaw, be able to light it up. Then Patrick Queen, like this pick. I just feel like it's more of a Seahawks pick. Leaving Kenneth Murray to the Ravens. You can flip that if you guys want. But I think that both of them are really talented linebackers. Austin Jackson, you know why. We already know what happened with the other tackle they drafted, and it was obviously a big need, and he could definitely be at right tackle. I actually moved this up. This was in the second round. I put Jalen Reagor here to the Dolphins. I just think that he will be a really talented slot wide receiver with a consistent quarterback and consistent health. So I think that it was worth putting him back in the first. Then Caleb Von Chason fell quite a bit, but he's just super raw. And a team like the Vikings, you have no plans for winning anytime soon, but Caleb Vaughn could be in that future. And then Trevon Diggs, I just think that we have to give him some respect and then put him on the Chiefs because, again, they desperately needed corner and linebacker help. So at number 33, we got the Bengals on the clock. And we already know we should probably be looking at the offensive guard role here. Tackle could be another way that we rock as well. I think that the right tackle spot was being filled by like Bobby Hart or something. So Josh Jones certainly is somebody, Matt Peart as well. I'm going to be pulling the trigger on Josh Jones, though, just because of the fact that obviously we could go wide receiver here and get like Denzel Mims or something, but Josh Jones is going to be able to play the guard role and tackle. So I think that he has a bright future still in the NFL. I think he's in Arizona right now, and he's just getting trained up. Super high quality starter. He's going to be a lot better than what you have with Michael Jordan at guard. So definitely go with that. I think now in retrospect, you realize how valuable that is. And at number 34, I would consider taking a tackle here to grow, like Matt Peart. Obviously, wide receiver wise, we could go Denzel Mims or Michael Pittman Jr. And I think both of them are really solid, but you really have to prioritize the future here. Matt Peart obviously had a really damn good season, very underrated. I don't get why teams just really kind of like passed on the idea of him. Obviously, I don't know if they traded out their first round pick, right? I think that might have been the Jordan Love move. Not really 100% sure. Regardless, though, we're gonna go Matt Peart here to be able to grow because I think that he's a really talented, quality tackle starter. At number 35, we got the Lions on the board. And yeah, there's a lot of guys like Cameron Curl still on the board and Julian Blackman, who actually, yeah, who all need to have some respect. So this could be a pick for them. But looking at the guys on the board, I could definitely see the Lions going safety here. They definitely could go wide receiver though, and I think that's the route you should go. Obviously, they had Marvin Jones at the time. They obviously knew that time was coming up. Danny Amendola is going to be toast, and then Kenny Galladay, that was going to be a hard contract to keep, especially given the state of the franchise. I think you have to go Denzel Mims, but obviously keep in mind there are other ways to go about it. At number 36, the Giants are on the board, and actually in my last draft, I took Xavier McKinney, but to get a different strong safety for us, maybe we can go Jeremy Chin here, who's really good. I think they should definitely be in the first, right? I definitely thought that he should be in the first, but he just didn't really fit anywhere that I really wanted to put him, if you get what I'm saying. I think Cameron Curl would be a good spot right here. He did play at a high level, so I think that he does need to get some respect. And at number 37, this right here is going to be Jeremy Chin. I think that is going to. I think that you have to take him away for Matt Rule there, and safety is a desperate need for the Patriots at this spot. We're getting a run on safeties here, guys. I think obviously you could definitely go after Julian Blackman, who played very well at free safety, but I'm gonna go Grant Delpit for the pure upside. I'm like, okay, well, if you got Matt Rule, go with the player with the biggest upside. I go with Grant Delpit there. So this next pick, This is an interesting one for the Dolphins because this is where I went with Jalen Reagor last time, but don't really need that anymore, right? So we could definitely get another boundary wide receiver. It's definitely an option. So if we want to look at the guys available, you could go Michael Pittman Jr. here. That could be a really, really good pairing. Obviously, you still have guys like Darnell Mooney on the board and other guys, but for right now, we could definitely look at guard as well because they did address that in the draft. If I'm not mistaken. I'm pretty sure, yeah, Solomon Kinley was in this draft, so they did need guard help. And Robert Hunt was someone they drafted, and he played at a very, very high level. So for me, I think that I'm going to go Robert Hunt and actually put him at the position he deserves to be. That's a guard. So definitely do that. At number 40, we got the Texans on the board. Safety was an issue, so I'm still trying to find a place to be putting Julian Blackmon, who played very well, but just cannot find it at the time. Obviously, if we knew about the transgressions that are like being discussed right now with Deshaun Watson, maybe Jordan Love would be a good spot. But to be honest, I don't know. Where should I go with this pick? The pass rushing class just wasn't good. I'm gonna be honest, it just wasn't very good. We could definitely go after a guy like Tyler Biadasz to be the center. I know Nick Martin was released after this year, and there was a bunch of reasons for it. But Damian Lewis, another talented guard, this is a tough spot, guys. So we could, of course, be trying to address something like wide receiver here. DeAndre Hopkins just left. You have Brandon Cooks and Will Fuller, but we already know Will Fuller probably not going to stay. And you could use him in the slot if you guys want. So there's definitely a plethora of routes that we could go here. Personally, I think offensive line could be the best move. And given that, I think that I actually want to go Tyler Biadasz. He actually played pretty well at center, and I think that you can use him as an understudy to Nick Martin and play him at guard. It's a Wisconsin lineman. You take him right now. Get Tyler Biadasz. Not a very flashy pick by any stretch of the imagination, but definitely somebody who is really talented. Just looking at the rest of the guys on the board, just trying to make sure that we don't leave out anybody who deserves to be drafted in these top 2 rounds. But at number 41, I think we go Julian Blackmon here. It's a perfect fit because I'm pretty sure he's on the Colts. So don't think about it twice. I could have went wide receiver there, but just decided not to. You do need to fix up that defense and make sure it is good. At number 42, we got the Jaguars back on the board. And we definitely still need some pass rush help. And I'm looking at Yetur Gross-Matos here as somebody who I would potentially be drafting at this spot. Somebody who has a lot of potential still. Safety wise, we're kind of screwed. Corner wise, we already got somebody, so we don't really need another one. Linebacker wise, not really vibing. So looking at edge right now is a potential option. Tackle as well. Rip Isaiah Wilson, but whatever. There are some guys who could start. There are some guys. I'm looking at Ezra Cleveland here. He definitely played that left tackle spot if we want him to, right tackle if we need him to. You could look at not Isaiah Wilson. Lucas Niang, unfortunately, was injured, so we don't know. But there's actually quite a few good linemen in this class. So there's a lot to enjoy here. Guard-wise, though, Damian Lewis was really talented. So it's definitely something we could address because, again, if we want to look at the guys who we brought on Brandon Ayuk as well as Jeffrey Okudah. The line hasn't been helped yet, and the line is kind of an issue. So let's get Damian Lewis here. Why not? Really talented lineman out of LSU. He's been playing very well for the Seahawks. And that leaves the Bears on the board, who still needed a cornerback too. And there's still some really good ones on the board. So, again, another really good corner class. Noah Igbenogany is somebody who we haven't even seen yet, but he has a lot of potential. But I think we got to go AJ Terrell. He actually did play at a solid level, and you take him. You take him. At this next spot, I'm looking at guys like Xavier McKinney to be filling that safety role because they did draft Grant Delpit and then brought in, of course, other reinforcements. But the safety core for the Browns at this time, not too hot. I think that you might want to be going after Xavier McKinney here. Obviously, Jordan Elliott was another guy that the Browns drafted who's pretty good. Yetur Gross-Matos, though, he has so much potential. He's super young, and Olivier Vernon ain't gonna last as well. Well, we all know that now. So get Yetur Gross-Matos, someone who has a lot of room to grow in a place where he will grow. So I like it. Number 45, the Bucks. They kind of got everything down, so there's not really a need. Obviously, the running backs, I totally forgot about the fact that we still have running backs on the board. We're going to go Jonathan Taylor here. Definitely a heavy back that can just chew up yards. I'm a big fan of it. Speaking of a team that could use another running back, by the way, that obviously got it this year. That's the Broncos. They're not going to get it in this draft, though, because at the time they still had plenty of options. This is where you take a second round guy in Jordan Love. You take him, you say, okay, well, we already know that you're not that good, but you have a lot of potential. Jalen Hurts will be a day one impact, but I think that the roster still wanted to add a couple pieces at the time. Next, we got the Falcons. Falcons, they could use a running back. I'm going J.K. Dobbins here. Just he fits the role of what they'd want to do. Obviously, I think these two guys are better, but J.K. all day. We got number 48. We got the Seahawks. This is where I had Damian Lewis last time. That's not going to be the case. I think Cesar Ruiz still has a lot to grow, and he has a lot of potential. I think we have to start him, but Kevin Dotson played very well for the Steelers, so you take him there. Steelers, though, we already know what happened. Unfortunately, Big Ben, not the guy. I'm drafting Jalen Hurts. I thought he was the perfect guy for the Steelers in the third round. Now I'm putting him in the second. Jalen Hurts out of Oklahoma, going to be able to sit under Big Ben and then be able to take over a brand new team. Number 50, we got the Bears. Bears, we still got some solid wide receivers on the board. I'm passing on, wait, where's Mooney at? I'm passing on Michael Pittman to get Darnell Mooney because he worked so well in the squad. Big fan of him. Number 51, the Cowboys. To be honest, Michael Pittman Jr. is a really good option here. Xavier McKinney could be another one. Obviously, what other picks did we do for the Cowboys? Because do we only have one pick so far for the Cowboys? It felt like we had a couple. Yeah, we had L'Jarius Sneed. So we could probably address wide receiver here, edge as well, with AJ Epineza. I think that's a really good one because he's somebody who tested pretty poorly, but definitely was somebody who has a very high potential. And if he learns from DeMarcus Lawrence, I think he could reach that potential. Just making sure that we aren't missing on anybody big here, because of course you don't want to miss out on people who played very well and should be in these rounds, but wasn't really impressed with the defensive line class or the edge class. Linebacker wise, I mean, Michael Walker is the only dude who I can really see. And honestly, he's going to be the pick here. Michael Walker desperately needed on the Rams, and he played very well. So big fan of him. Wide receiver wise, of course, we got Michael Pittman on the board, Laviska Shenault on the board as well. But for the Eagles, this could be a running back pick. I'm not going to lie. But for me right now, I think that I'd rather get a guy who could develop, and that's Cesar Ruiz, can play guard or center, and that's gonna be good because the Eagles need to develop somebody like that, especially with Carson Wentz needing help. Number 54, we got the Bills on the board. Bills didn't really need much. I'm gonna be honest, but they did need a second corner. So when we look at the corners available, I think Noah Igbenogany has the most potential out of all of these guys. Didn't really find Jeff Gladdy's not being drafted because of his obvious transgressions off the field. So we're going to get Noah Igbenogany here, somebody who can play slot, can play boundary. He has a lot of potential, man. We haven't seen it yet. So a lot of teams will be gun shy. Again, that's why this is way too early. So don't worry. Number 55, we got the Ravens. I think this is where you take a guy like Xavier McKinney, but they were looking after a running back. We are going to go DeAndre Swift here. I think that it's a weird fit where we want to put CEH. Excuse me. It's just like I don't know where to put him, if we're gonna be honest, guys. At number 56, this could be CEH right here. The running back core definitely wasn't amazing last year. It was solid though. Did we get a guard yet for this team? I think we did. I think we got Robert Hunt. Yeah, we did. So the line is pretty much fixed. We could, of course, still address the line, but safety with Xavier McKinney wouldn't be a bad idea either. Got Kyle Duggar here. There's a lot of really good guys left on the board. So for me, it's like, shoot, where do you go? You're at a crapshoot right now. I think you're going to take Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He had flashes of really great greatness, but he also was extremely inconsistent, was having to pretty much be outplayed by Le'Veon Bell. So Clyde Edwards-Helaire being taken because the Rams were going to try to steal him. For the Rams, though, this quarterback class honestly wasn't that great. I was a little bit disappointed that Tyler Huntley has been just lighting it up, but that's okay. For the Rams, we could definitely look at wide receiver. Michael Pittman Jr. might be too good to pass on. And I think that's going to be the case. You just get a guy who's going to be a weapon for your team. You went after Van Jefferson with this pick anyways. So get Michael Pittman Jr. there, be able to light up the scoreboard. With the Vikings pick, I honestly would be looking at Xavier McKinney here. I'm going to snag him up because safety is a desperate need for us, and we're going to take him. 59, the Jets. Corner definitely is a need, making sure that we haven't gotten a corner yet for the Jets because, again, don't want to do that. Corner could definitely be something that we do target. And the corners on the board, I'd be looking at Christian Fulton here because he did have some really good plays. Ojemudia is somebody I don't. Is that the guy in the Broncos? Because he played really well this year. Not really well, but well enough this year to be able to gain enough respect. But Jets, you guys could have used some extra pass rush. You guys had a lot of guys there though. So thinking about who we could be taking is a very interesting one. Obviously we could be going after a wide receiver here like Tyler Johnson, who is a very, very elite weapon. But I'm looking right now at Laviska Shenault. He had a very good year, and I just want to make sure the Jets haven't taken another wide receiver, and we haven't. So Laviska deserves to be taken. Again, he just wasn't spectacular, so that's why he's going to be at the spot. Number 60, the Patriots. We went after a wide receiver in the first as well as a safety in the second. So obviously there will be some need. Where did the Patriots pick? I thought we picked a wide receiver for the Patriots in the first. That's interesting. I guess we didn't because we got Jeremy Chin here. But wow, that's kind of weird for me. I definitely thought that we drafted a wide receiver for the Patriots. Wow, that is weird. I must be losing it because it was just like, wait a second. This might have been, this is so weird. Okay, whatever, guys. Wide receiver is definitely a need. So I would be looking at Tyler Johnson here, who I think has unbelievable potential, guys. I don't really understand why people don't like him. He lit it up for Tampa Bay. I think he'd be deserving of this pick. So at number 61, we got the Titans on the board. And unfortunately, they're kind of screwed on the wide receiver room. Obviously, I want to draft Devin Duvernay, but at the time, we know that he hasn't been that great for a team that can't throw the ball. So I would still be potentially open for another lineman here. Again, you run the ball so much. But we could definitely look at the safety route as well. But didn't release any of their secondary yet. So it's not really a need. Edge rusher could be though. And I would be looking at somebody who made a pretty good impact on the Steelers this year. Speaking of the Steelers basically losing Bud Dupree this year, Alex Highsmith would be a good understudy to Jadeveon Clowney at the time. So definitely fix that edge rush. Then number 62, the Packers. I think you have to cater to Aaron Rodgers because of course that's what Green Bay does. And running back wise, I'm not really seeing anything I really like except James Robinson, who speaking of a guy who should have went way earlier, James Robinson. Honestly, guys, here's going to be a quick change up. I'm going to put James Robinson probably here. Let's flop J.K. Dobbins and James Robinson. So it's going to be J.K. Dobbins' pick. I don't think J.K. Dobbins was that spectacular. So for you guys watching and actually listening, because I already know some of y'all going down in the comment section, James Robinson is going to the Falcons. This is J.K. Dobbins because, again, you do need that running game for the future, and, they can do whatever they want. Of course, we still have some really good ones on the board. Chiefs, speaking of, we're going to go Antonio Gibson here, who had a really, really good year. He's going to be a very good receiving back. And number 64, we got the Panthers once again. And, I mean, to be honest, I think cornerback would have been definitely something they'd go after. But looking at the guys, let's see if there's anybody who's really worth a pick here. Kyle Duggar definitely has a potential to be in here. Edgewise, can't really find anybody else. There's definitely some guards here who I think we could take up in the second round territory. Ezra Cleveland as well, somebody who I actually might be taking at this spot. Wide receiver wise, there's a couple guys. Devin Duvernay, definitely somebody who has a lot of potential still. Nothing too crazy here. Running back wise, of course, but we wouldn't take one. So with all that said, I am definitely down to a couple of guys. So I'm down to Ezra Cleveland, as well as there was somebody else who I had on my mind. It's Christian Fulton. So I think offensive line was probably something that they desperately needed at left tackle at that year. So we're going to be taking it. I'm pretty sure Okung was there, but I mean, really? You really think that's going to stop me from taking Ezra Cleveland, who played at a high level? So that's the draft, guys. I really hope that you guys did enjoy. Definitely let me know your thoughts, comments, who I left out, and I'll see you on the far side. Peace.